Hello there, students from Beehive School. This is Teacher Krishna, and welcome to our science class for week number 12 for 9th BYS. So this week we're going to have a review and assessment. You can find it from pages 99 to 101. Before we start, get your digital book, enter the Google Classroom, download the Word document, save it inside your science folder, and lastly, name it in the following way. The only difference in this week is that you need to add the week and the number before we start. All right. So as we move, remember to take notes. That is very important. So you go along identifying the most important information from this video. It's also important to start with our end in mind. So for this week, we have students will be able to describe processes and patterns of heredity based on chromosomes and probability. This is the first thing you need to copy in your document, so please go ahead and do it. So instructions. You have to answer all of the questions in your Word document. You can find the questions in pages 99 to 101. They are a total of 27. The teacher will provide you with 14 answers and you have to complete the rest. When you finish, study your answers and take the test online. So we are going to do a modification since I have had some technical difficulties with technology. I'm sorry. So just answer the questions in your Word document. And once we're done with Google Classroom, I will check your answers in there. All right, so number one, different forms of a gene are called alleles. So remember that alleles are like the certain patterns that are specified in your genes. And of course, they are different characteristics. And number two, we have genetics is the scientific study of heredity. Just as a curious fact, remember that the first scientist that experimented with heredity was Mendel, Gregor Mendel. And of course, he is in the next question, number three. Explain. Mendel crossed two pea plants, one with green pods and one with yellow pods. The first generation all had green pods. What color pods did the second generation, or F2, had? So explain your answer. Most F2 plants had green pods, but some had yellow pods because they inherited two recessive alleles. So this is something that we discussed in class. I gave you an example with the color of eyes, with brown eyes and green eyes. So pretty much what happens is that dominant alleles are way more commonly transferred. And even if there is just one of them, it's going to be present. But recessive alleles are a little bit more difficult to appear, such as the yellow pods in the experiment for Mendel. Now let's go with number four, predict. The plant below is parbred for height tall. Write the alleles of this plant. In any cross for height, what kind of offspring will this plant produce and why? So notice that we have two dominant alleles for the tallness of the plant. So this plant can produce only tall offsprings because it has only tall alleles. And tall is a dominant allele over the short allele. Number five, compare and contrast. How do dominant alleles and recessive alleles differ? So this is related to what I was talking about before, in which dominant alleles are present even though there is only one of them. But recessive alleles are a little bit less common because you specifically need two of them in order for it to be present. Number six, write about it. Write a diary entry as if you are Gregor Mendel. You may describe any part of his experiences, experiments, or observations. So in this part specifically, you can talk about how he was experimenting with two types of peas, the ones with yellow pods and the one with green pods. That you can talk about the first generation in which all of them only had green pods, and on the second generation where a couple of plants with yellow pods started to appear, since finally the recessive alleles were both present in one of them. Right, so that is some of the information you can write in your answer for question number 6. Number 7, which of the following represents a heterozygous genotype? Remember, a heterozygous genotype is when you combine two different alleles or two different genes, such as the one in letter C, with a capital Y and a lowercase y. Number 8, an organism's phenotype is the way its genotype is expressed. Notice that the genotype is the genetical information that you already have in your DNA. But the phenotype is something that can change a little bit because of environmental effects, all right? Number 9, we have make models. Fill in the Punnett squares below to show a cross between two guinea pigs that are heterozygous for coat color. B is for black coat color, and lowercase b is for white coat color. So if you can notice right there in the table, we have two capital B's and two lowercase b's out of the square. Why? Because we're talking about heterozygous, and one more time, we need the combination of two different alleles. How do we interpret that? Well, the answer is in number 10. As you can notice, what is the possibility that two capital B's are together? The possibilities are of the 25%. What are the chances of getting a capital B and a lowercase b? The chances are of 50%. And lastly, what are the chances of getting two lowercase b's? The chances are of 25%. Number 11, what kind of cross might tell you if a black guinea pig is two capital B's or one capital B and one lowercase b, and why? So here it is. A cross with a white guinea pig will be two lowercase b's. And if a white pup is born, the black guinea pig had to be one capital B and one lowercase b. Now number 12, do the math. So we can jump directly to the information we have there. So we have a total of 80 pea plants, and we have 20 with short stems. We have 60 with tall stems. Now we have to find about the percentages of them. So how do we divide that in percentages? So here's the formula I used for short stems. So they represent the 25% out of the total population. Here is the formula I used for tall terns. And they represent a 75% out of the total population. Now let's go with question number 13. Which one of the following terms describes a pattern of inheritance in which one allele is only partially dominant? That is known as letter D, incomplete dominance. And the last one, traits that have 3 or more phenotypes may be the result of multiple alleles. Right, so evaluation, we're going to change this a little bit, but basically notice that you will find you have to complete the rest of questions from the review and assessment. You have to complete 13 questions. You don't have to take the test online. You only have to upload your answers to the Google Classroom. Right, so and there are a total of 27 questions, so each correct answer will have the value of 0.37. So good luck, guys, and that will be it for today's class. I will see you around. Goodbye.